The haunted doll that moved on its own. Before I even start, let me say this. I've seen a lot of creepy stuff filming for HorrorHaunted AI. Abandoned prisons, cursed basements, places where even the air feels scared. But this doll, it got under my skin in a way nothing else ever has. It didn't just move, it moved like it knew I was watching. Like it wanted me to see. I'm telling this story exactly how it happened. No changes, no exaggeration. If you're easily scared, you might want to leave the lights on for this one. The origin story. The thrift shop was one of those places that look like they've been forgotten by time. The bell above the door didn't ring. It coughed. The dusty shelves were stacked with old lamps, abandoned photos, cracked picture frames. Stuff that felt like it had history nobody wanted to remember. The air was thick, heavy, and smelled like damp wood. Even the shopkeeper barely looked up, just nodded like he already knew why I was there. In the far corner, buried beneath broken toys and faded teddy bears, something caught my eye. A porcelain doll, cracked cheeks, faded red lips. Eyes too shiny, too glassy, like they were moist, like they were reflecting a light that wasn't in the room. When I picked it up, a sharp coldness spread from my fingers to my shoulder. Not a chill, a pulse. A single heartbeat that didn't belong to me. Something inside me whispered, put it back. But curiosity won. Curiosity always wins. So I bought the doll and walked out with trouble. The strange first night, I placed the doll on the highest shelf in my room, far from reach, far from sight. But the moment I turned off the lights, the room felt different. Not scary watched. You know, that weird pressure you feel when someone stares at the back of your neck. That's exactly how it felt. Like invisible eyes were studying me. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to a soft tap, tap, tap. Tiny footsteps, fingertips, I couldn't tell. My room felt colder, like the warmth had been sucked out. When I sat up, something inside me said, don't look at the shelf. But of course I did. The doll's eyes looked brighter in the dark, almost reflective, like tiny mirrors catching a light source I couldn't see. I told myself it was nothing, but it felt like the beginning of something. Little movements. The next morning, the first thing I noticed was the doll's position. I left it facing the window, yet somehow it was now facing my bed. Head slightly tilted, smile a bit wider, eyes locked on to where I had been sleeping. A chill crawled down my back. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe I forgot how I placed it. Maybe the shelf is uneven. But then it happened again and again. Every time I left the room for even a minute, something was different. A hand raised slightly, a foot angled outward. Its head turned just a bit more to the right, each movement tiny, but unmistakable. My room didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt shared. The sound that woke me up 2 nights later, something woke me up, not a noise, but a voice, a whisper. Right next to my ear, I didn't hear words, I felt breath. My heart sprinted into panic mode. I grabbed my phone and flicked on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing every corner of my room, except the doll wasn't on the shelf anymore. It sat on the floor, legs neatly folded, facing me, like it had moved there quietly, purposely, waiting. The air felt thick, electric, wrong. I had 2 choices, pretend this wasn't real, or investigate. So I chose the one that makes horror videos possible. I set up a camera. The first real movement caught on camera. I positioned the camera across the room, pointed directly at the shelf. I double-checked the angle, triple-checked it. I wanted every second recorded. Around 3:17 a.m., the footage captured something that changed everything. The doll didn't just move. Its arm lifted with intent, slow, deliberate, like someone was guiding it gently but firmly. One finger twitched, then another curling like it was waking up from sleep. Then came the head, the way it turned, painfully slow, like the doll didn't want to break its own neck. It stopped exactly at the camera, staring straight into the lens, straight into me, even though I wasn't watching live. Right before the clip cut off, its lips parted, just enough to look like it might whisper again. My skin crawled, my stomach dropped. Reality didn't feel real anymore. The house starts acting haunted after that night. The entire house changed. It wasn't just the doll anymore. It felt like something came with it. The lights flickered with no pattern, sometimes dimming down to almost nothing, sometimes switching off entirely for minutes. Cold drafts slithered through the hallways, even though every window was shut. Shadows stretched longer on the walls, bending in unnatural ways. Some of them looked like long, thin figures standing behind the doll when I walked past. At night, I heard tiny footsteps tapping down the hallway, too fast and too light to be human. Sometimes I'd wake up to the feeling of someone standing next to my bed, breathing softly. Every time I looked at the doll, those glassy eyes seemed brighter, more focused, alive. I realized this wasn't just a haunted object, it was an invitation. And something had accepted. The expert check, I sent the footage to a paranormal investigator. I trusted someone who had seen things most people wouldn't believe. I also pushed it through an AI motion analysis tool out of curiosity. When the AI finished processing the clip, a warning popped up I'd never seen before. Movement pattern, non-human, not mechanical, not environmental, non-human. When the investigator called, his voice shook. He said, "That doll isn't just haunted. Something is attached to it, something old." He refused to say the name of whatever he thought it was. He just told me to handle it before it handles you. That's when fear became survival. The final incident, the last night, started off quiet, too quiet. The kind of calm that feels staged, like the silence before a scream. I was editing footage around midnight when the lights dimmed until the whole house went black. The temperature dropped so fast my breath turned white. I heard something scraping along the floor behind me, slow, repetitive, deliberate. Then came the crash, loud enough to shake the room. I spun around, and there it was, the doll lying on the floor. But it wasn't still. Its porcelain arms scraped forward. Then its legs. Then its head dragged across the floor, leaving a faint scratch mark like tiny claws. It was crawling toward me. One tiny movement at a time. My mind froze. My lungs locked. I couldn't move. Finally, survival kicked in. I grabbed it by the arm, shoved it into a box, taped it shut, and sprinted out of the house. Getting rid of the doll, I threw the box in the back seat and sped off into the night. The whole drive, I swore, I heard shifting, like something inside was turning, repositioning, trying to find a way out. I didn't stop until I reached an abandoned lot miles away. Silent, empty, no houses, no lights, no people. I left the box there, didn't look back, didn't breathe until I got back in the car. But the haunting didn't stop immediately. For 2 days, whispers followed me. Shadows moved behind me. Cold chills brushed past my neck like invisible fingers. It felt like the doll's presence had soaked into my home, or worse, into me. Aftermath and the unanswered question, eventually, the air warmed again. The shadows disappeared. Everything went back to normal, or at least, I thought it did. Last week, a package showed up at my door. Plain brown box, no name, no return address. Inside was a tiny piece of broken porcelain, same texture, same color as the doll, but the note, that's what froze my blood. Shaky handwriting, "You forgot something." And ever since that day, I felt someone standing behind me when I turn off the lights. So tell me, do you think the doll was actually haunted? Or did something much darker hitch a ride into my house? Drop your theories below. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're brave enough for more nightmares from HorrorHaunted AI. And remember, dolls may be small, But the things inside them aren't always harmless.